Hello and welcome to the second part of Introduction to Macro Programming. I've got some things prepared here just to play with. I'm going to start with a simple thing, for next loops, which anyone who's done any programming at any stage will certainly relate to. So let's try it out. We've got our Visual Basic window, which I called up with Alt F11. And I've put the macro in there, this long and complicated macro. So let's find a bit of space and let's run the macro. So we can run the macro, as we said before, from the menu there, the drop down menu with run, or by pressing F5. So let's just run that. And so, as you can see, it says 6 times it's typed in the text hello. Might be more sensible to have a carriage return, so let's undo those and we can add a carriage return in here, which I was going to do later in the demonstration, but never mind. So we say and VBCR, so that's a sort of magic code for the text of a new line or a return. So I typed in VBCR in lowercase, and you can see it's changed the C to uppercase. Well, I can if I just copy it out into here. So we know it's accepted it as a command that it knows, that Visual Basic knows. Okay, so we could, I want to learn, teach you how to, or we did single step last time, so let's just try that again. So off the debug menu, single step, or step into as they put there, is F8, so let's try that. So we're in that macro and we can press F8 once, twice, 3 times, so that's the command it's going to do next. So when I do it, it's going to come on the end here, look. Never mind, that doesn't matter. So hello there, and then next back to there, and another one, and another one, and another one. So it's going through one step at a time. So if I stop the macro by pressing the reset button, the square button there, I can undo those. Perhaps go down here. So I've said here to show you select line. So if, for example, we want a second line here, I can, if I move, if you watch the cursor, I don't know how much you can see, as I move it to the left, when I get to the tiny gap between there, it changes to a sort of upper right pointing arrow, and if I move it further still into this here, it goes into a black upper left pointing arrow. So when I'm in there, and I click in that gap there, that margin if you like, and then it will select that line. So if I want to copy and paste that, I can copy and then paste. So I've got a second line in there, so I can put another text in there. So goodbye is one word, there we go. So we can now select lines, and if you sorry, to select a line, if you want to select lines, if you start from say there on the for I equals 1 to 6 and press the select button down and then drag, so it then drags down and will select any number of lines. Okay, it doesn't matter where the cursor is now, because we've got our right pointing arrow, which is the one that we got when we went into the margin there. Okay, so we've selected some lines. We can select the macro, because if again in the margin there, if I double click in that margin, then it selects the whole of that macro but not the next macro down there. Okay, so that's select macro, add a carriage return. I've already had a play and done that. Add a new line, well I've done that. So next thing I'm going to look at is breakpoints. Okay, so if I, for example, go into, where should we do it? Let's go into here. So I go to the left of this line and click in the outer margin. It selected the whole thing, but I don't know why. Probably because I hesitated. Anyway, what it's supposed to have done, just put a brown dot in there and selected that line. So if I click in there again, it goes off. So I can put one there instead, and then switch it off and put another one there. I can have more than one, so I could have two. So these are what we call breakpoints. So if we now tell the macro to run, it won't run straight through and do all 6. It will go only as far as the first breakpoint. So if I run it by clicking run there, so it goes to that first point and is about to do it. So if I press F8, say, then it will print hello, F8 again, and it will print goodbye, and it's now got to the next. So if I take that one off, I'm left with one breakpoint there. If I press F5, then it will go to the same point again. It will go up to, well, let's do F8. So I go up to there, so it's ready to do the next one. So if I do F8 again, it does the next one. If I now say run by pressing F5, it will run to there, and it's done the goodbye. If I press F5 again, it will go through again until it gets to the breakpoint, which is there. F5 again, or if I do it by clicking up here, you can see it happening. So I click on that one, and it goes to the next hello goodbye. Click again, the next hello goodbye. Click again, and it should exit. Yes, there we go. That was done. It's done the 6. Okay, so that was using breakpoints to stop at a particular point in the program, so you can see what's going on. So what are we going to do next? Run to cursor. That's sometimes helpful if you're just trying to go through a long bit of code and trying to look at what's happening at each stage. So you can do it like this. So if I click in that line, that's the goodbye line, and I say, rather than run, I say run to cursor, which is Control F8, then it will go as far as the cursor. Now if I click in the next line and then say run to cursor or Control F8, then it will go to that line. If I put the cursor, let's say, back in there, that's in the hello line, so if I say Control F8 run to cursor, it runs to that line. So it runs to the line that is where the cursor is. So if I go into the exit line, and notice, by the way, that that's an exit subroutine, and that's the end of the subroutine. So this is actually when the program gets to this point here, exit sub, it comes out of the subroutine, it comes out of the macro altogether, and it doesn't run this bit of code down here. So what was I doing? Yes, if I click in there and say run to cursor, which is Control F8, then it will run to that. It's done all the 6, and the next thing it does, well, you know, inconsequential, the next thing it does if I press F8 is to exit from the macro. So okay, so that was single stepping. Sorry, it was run to cursor. Right, now let's play around with another bit of code. We've got this next bit here. So if I can select it, as I showed you, by dragging down in that margin, bring it up to the top, and if I want to, I said I would copy selected text, so you can do it by, if I want the exit subline, if I want a copy of that up there, if I hold the control key down and drag that, then it drags a copy of it, creates a copy, similar to the way you can do it in Word itself. by selecting a bit of text and dragging it with the control held down, and you get a copy of it. Okay, so what's this bit of code doing? Well, let's have a look. So instead of a numbered for next loop, this is a more significant kind of for next loop. We're interested in the words, so the idea of a word in a macro is a useful concept, and what we're saying here is for each word in active documents dot words. So WD is just a variable that I'm using. I could have called it anything. I could have called it my word, or I don't know, anything. I've called it WD. For each word in active document dot words, if the length of the word is more than 6, then do something. Well, let's actually do it and see what it does. So we don't want to go through and let it run through. We actually want to see what's going on. So we can use, let's say I use run to cursor, Control F8. Then it's got to that line. Nothing seems to have happened. If I do an F8, in other words, execute that one command, word.select, then you can see what it's done. Now it's the word that it's got. If I hover over word, that if I hover over WD, it says WD equals macros space, and so that's the first word in inverted commas in the document, and it's selected that word. So word.select is actually selecting that first word because it's saying that that word is more than 6 characters long. And if you notice, macros is only 6. That's not more than 6, but you've actually got the word. If I hover over word there, it's probably too small to see, but it's macros space. So, and you can see what's been selected. So the word in inverted commas, as far as Microsoft VBA is concerned, it includes the space. So the next line, I'm sure you can work that out. Let's run it. Word underline equals true. Okay, next word. So the next word, if I hover over that, is 4. Nothing happens, so it skips straight past that, and then keep going. Greater than 6. It's gone into that if-then statement, and it has now found this one here. Now, what have we got for word this time? We've got editors and just the word editors, and there's no space after that. So that gets underlined. Okay, and so we could go on with that. Right, so let's just stop that and see if there was something else we were going to do. Let's go back down to here. What were we going to do? Play with the macro, go and have supper. Ah, right, okay, well, I think that's it. We've done a bit of playing with the macro, and you've learnt something there. We didn't actually look at the this if then else, if then end if selection, but that's something we can play with. Oh, I know. Why don't I illustrate another thing? I can say else, and I can say, so in other words, if the word is not greater than 6, then do something else. Let's say, copying that line, word dot, what should we say, something silly, superscript equals true. Okay, so what's going to happen this time? Let's have a go, and then go on my T. Where are we? Yes, so let's run to, where should we run to? Here. Run to cursor. So we've got to F6, then so it selects the first word because it is more than 6 characters, and it skips past the else item, and then for the next word, that one is not greater, so in other words we've got 4, FOR, That is not greater than 6, so we go into the else statement and it superscripts that one. So off it goes. The next one is, so it underlines it. The next one is not, so that one gets superscripted. What's it doing at the moment? I don't know. Oh, it's found what it's found is the carriage return. If you hover over word, it seems to be showing nothing. It's found the carriage return as a word, and then the next one is by, and then it's done Paul, and then Beverly is more than 6, so that's going to get underlined. Okay, that's it for now. I can go and have my tea. Bye for now.